In the aftermath of a nuclear war, Earth is plunged into a nuclear winter. Survivors who ventured into the planet's core uncover an alien civilization that offers salvation. In 2018, lunar Nazis attack Earth, leading to devastation. The U.S. president witnesses a nuclear explosion from the White House before fleeing by helicopter. Meanwhile, in the Kremlin, the Russian president fantasizes about annexing Ukraine, creating a map collage. The U.S. president reaches a secret Antarctic refuge, while the Russian president behaves bizarrely, stripping off his clothes and dancing. As the American president descends deeper into the refuge, they transform a limb into an alien appendage and activate a hidden blue sphere. Simultaneously, the Russian president's eyes transform, resembling those of a lizard. When the sphere is touched, a hidden hatch opens. By 2018, Earth has become uninhabitable due to the war with the lunar Nazis. The last remaining humans, aboard the only surviving spacecraft, head to the far side of the moon, finding refuge in an abandoned lunar Nazi base. For years, survivors, including Obie, who was born on the base, live alongside former lunar Nazis. Along with 1,980 other people, Obie monitors a spacecraft approaching from Earth, something thought impossible. In the control room, Renata, Obie, and their team are shocked by the sight. Fearing the unknown, Renata orders the landing pad to remain closed, but Obie disagrees. She races out of the control room, cutting the power to the station to override the decision. Soldiers pursue her, but she manages to reach the landing area as the hatch lights flash and the pad begins to open, leaving everyone uncertain of who or what is arriving. Obie boards a crane to intercept the spacecraft, which has lost control and is plummeting. She carefully maneuvers it to a safe landing and descends to the pad. Shortly after, Renata and the soldiers arrive. Renata is furious with Obie and begins scolding her, but before she can continue, the spacecraft hatch opens and passengers emerge. A young man introduces himself as Sasha, explaining that they came from Earth, specifically from what was once Russia before the nuclear winter. Sasha reveals that he built the spacecraft himself, though it's rudimentary, and explains he had to save the remaining survivors. After hearing Sasha's story, Renata is hesitant to offer refuge due to the severe shortages of food, water, and supplies. However, Obie persuades her not to turn them away, and Renata reluctantly agrees. She orders that the new arrivals be housed in a storage area under strict security. As they are escorted away, one passenger peeks out of the spacecraft but quickly retreats, remaining hidden. As Obie walks through the corridors, she reflects on how dire the situation on the base really is. Overcrowding, hunger, unsanitary conditions, and a shortage of doctors and specialists plague the base. On top of that, the base itself is crumbling, and lunar tremors could cause life support failures. Obie is the only one concerned about these issues, and she's the only one making repairs. Suddenly, a tremor hits, causing part of the system to fail. Obie rushes to fix it, ensuring everyone's safety before heading to the main hall. There, she finds a group known as the JSTS, followers of a new moon-based religion, gathered for a meeting. The sect leader invites the crowd to pray for their father Steve to grant them light. As they begin their prayers, the leader uses his iPad to locate a young man who has broken their rules. Confronted with the violation, the leader decides to separate the young man from the group. The other members panic and distance themselves from the offender, who begs for mercy, insisting his loyalty to Steve. However, the leader opens an app on his gadget, and the young man's phone explodes. Watching in horror, Obie grabs a large hammer, smashing through the glass doors to confront the sect. Outraged, the leader threatens her, but Obie counters by threatening to cut off their Wi-Fi, forcing him to dismiss the group. To her shock, Obie spots her mother among the followers, clearly very ill. Bewildered by her mother's involvement in the sect, Obie is burdened by the mounting issues on the base. Especially since her father's death, she has been the only one dealing with the problems caused by the increasing lunar tremors. Donald approaches with a suggestion to solve the problems by thinking differently. Obie brushes him off, and her mother chastises her for being rude, implying that this attitude will affect her chances of finding a partner. Obie retorts that she doesn't need a man. Just then, Malcolm enters, shares a few brief words with Obie, and leaves. Renata comments that Obie and Malcolm would make a good match. In one of the base's compartments stands the half-dismantled Amelia spacecraft, stripped for parts years ago, with only remnants remaining. People are growing anxious about the future, as this was their only spacecraft. Obie tries to repair it, but fails. Deciding to inspect the refugee spacecraft, she is suddenly distracted by a cloaked figure and stealthily follows them. The figure leads her to a bunker, disappearing behind a door. As she sneaks inside, Obie is struck on the head and loses consciousness. When she regains consciousness, Obie finds herself in a room with a strange man searching through a table. After finding something to eat, he is momentarily distracted. Obie attempts to untie her hands and asks him who he is. He removes his hood and reveals his identity, Wolfgang Quartz, the lunar Führer, whom her mother had once seen die. Once freed, Obie attacks him and almost overpowers him, but he insists she will need him in the future, as he knows how to help her sick mother. Before leaving, he hands Obie a piece of candy, claiming it will help her mother. Rushing to find her, Obie locates her mother near a photo of her deceased father. Obie's mother's condition worsens, but after Obie convinces her to eat the candy, her health dramatically improves, and she even regains her youth. Shocked by the transformation, Obie flees. Unbeknownst to her, Donald has been watching the entire time. Returning to confront Wolfgang Quartz, Obie demands to know what he gave her mother. He explains that it was Velia, pure energy. This powerful substance fuels spacecraft and grants immortality to beings like him. When Obie questions what makes him different from humans, he asks her to untie him so he can demonstrate. Hesitant but curious, Obie frees him. Immediately, Wolfgang takes a knife, cuts off his pinky finger, and eats another piece of candy. To Obie's astonishment, his finger regenerates, but it looks distinctly non-human. Wolfgang reveals his true nature. He is a Reptilian. Long ago, his race arrived on Earth in a damaged ship, but found the planet abundant with air, water, and life. His brother, the leader of their group, attempted to communicate with the planet's dominant species, dinosaurs, but this proved disastrous when a Tyrannosaurus Rex devoured one of them. The Reptilians were the only intelligent beings at the time and began studying Earth's fauna and flora. While others focused on larger creatures, Wolfgang studied the smaller ones, leading to the rise of primates. He then stole Velia, infused an apple with it, and fed it to two monkeys, Adam and Eve, thus creating humans. However, Wolfgang soon realized this so-called paradise was doomed. His brother ordered their group to retreat, taking the dinosaurs and journeying deep into the Earth, which was hollow. Inside, they found enough Velia to power their ship and heal any ailment. But Wolfgang warns that other Reptilians are not as benevolent as he is. They despise humans and will not share their Velia willingly. Wolfgang then shows Obie a map revealing an entrance to the Earth's core, where the city of Arda lies. At its center is a temple containing the Holy Grail that holds the Velia. When Obie questions his motives, he avoids answering directly, claiming he has no other choice. He also requests that she bring the Russian, Sasha, as she'll need help piloting the spacecraft. Before leaving, Wolfgang hands her his severed finger, saying it will be useful for their journey. With Sasha at her side, Obie heads for the spacecraft, but before they can leave, they are intercepted by Donald. Donald had been eavesdropping on Obie's conversation with the Führer and insists on joining their mission. Reluctantly, Obie agrees. When they reach the landing pad, they encounter a guard. Sasha attempts to knock him out, but fails because the guard is wearing an impact-resistant suit. Malcolm, removing his helmet, informs Sasha of this while helping tend to his injured hand. Obie explains their plan to Malcolm. They intend to steal the ship and travel to the Earth's core to retrieve the eternal energy needed for their mission. Malcolm decides to join them. Boarding the spacecraft, the group sets off with Sasha and Obie at the controls. Obie worries the ship might fall apart as they enter the atmosphere, but Sasha reassures her. However, when Obie tries to assist, she accidentally pulls a lever, causing the spacecraft to lose control. They crash land roughly on a glacier, but the ground beneath them collapses